What's up? And welcome to another episode of Director's Talk. This episode, we'll be discussing the twist. Now, in my short career, I've been a director. In two of my films, I have a twist. The first one being Sarah. And the unique thing about that twist, it doesn't come until after the end credits. So I gotta hope you enjoy the movie enough to sit through the end credits. And then there's an after credit scene, which is the biggest twist of the whole movie. Now, funny thing about that, it was never written into the script. It's something I did at the last moment and gave the film its biggest punch. So I'm like, wow. Now with I've Done It Again, those who have seen it, there is a twist. It kind of happens late second act and you're like, oh. Yes, there is a twist. Again, for this film, it was not originally in the script. It's something I came up with because of circumstances. As you know, this movie was filmed in different locations. The biggest location was New York. And I want to take full advantage of being in New York. For one of the cool Easter eggs about the film, when it says New York and it shows the date, April the 28th, that is my actual birthday. And I was actually in New York on Times Square filming on April the 28th, which is my birthday. So when you see that date, it's actually in real time when I was filming all the scenes in New York. That's kind of like a little Easter egg. But with this film, I made a conscious effort not to show as much killing and blood as the first film. I wanted to focus on the mystery and I wanted to focus on the love story. The love story was first. The horror suspense was secondary. And that was a risk, but it happened to pay off. To this day, this is probably my best acclaimed film by critics. So I'm proud that I made that decision. But to have suspense and thrills without as much killing, sometimes you have to do things double the time. So the big twist in this film was the movie's going on in chronological order. When the film opens up, it's 6:10 a.m. and you see the newscast. I have a nightmare and I wake up from my dream and I start my day. So what happens is, through the course of the day, everything's going on in real time. And then it's nighttime. It's a full moon that night on the harvest moon on October 1st. So as I'm filming it, and in the original script, the two ladies in the apartment complex were killed first. That was always the plan. That was always in the script. So that did happen. So when the film wrapped, primarily, I'm like, man, I really want to go back to New York and show off some scenes because there was no Times Square or nothing in the early part of the film. So the first inclination what I did was I went back and shot a scene where my mother's asking me about what happened in New York. And I'm playing it off like, oh, Mom, it was just father and son on a father and son vacation hanging out in New York. And she said, well, I asked your father. He was tight-mouthed about it. And now I'm asking you, and it sounds like you're not telling me everything that happened in New York. So that's in the first act. And you're like, why is his mom bringing up New York and why is she skeptical of New York? Then I just drop it. You never hear of it again. And before that scene, you've seen the two ladies get killed in an apartment. The fact is, you don't know that is New York. The way the film is shot, it's like, okay, he's in California, he's doing this thing, and his first night out, he killed these two women. Well, I went back and added a scene right before the two women. It's a news clip of two men being killed. That wasn't in the original script. So I did that on purpose to fool the audience. You think it's all one night he's killing all these people. And in retrospect, what happened in New York was prior, back in April. You don't know that until late second act. And purposely, when you see Christy from Geekette Chat, in the first part of the film, her hair's in a ponytail. She's relaxing in her apartment with the big love painting on the wall, watching TV. Then she's attacked by the werewolf. When you see her again, you really don't recognize it's her. She's wearing a beanie. She's wearing a mask because we're out in public. And that was shot in a New York mall right downtown in Manhattan. And that scene was never meant to be in the movie. It's something I shot to show her how she looks with the blurred background, you know, how the camera angle looks on her. And she looks so amazing, I had to add it to the film. So I'm like, how can I do this and make it make sense? So what I did, when you go back in time to New York, that's when I added everything from Times Square, the Jurassic Park T-Rex, the mall scene. You're like, oh, this is cool. And I'm explaining while my dad was asking me, where was you at last night? Because that part is in the film. You know, I come home, not home, but I come back to the apartment complex that we're staying at, me and my father. I walk through the front door, go straight to the bathroom and wash my hands of all the blood. As I come out, my dad is waiting for me. Yo, son, we need to talk. Where was you at last night? We had a plan. You know, it was a full moon at night. As father and son, we were gonna go to another part of town and wolf out where there's not too many people, so we won't get caught. And I made the decision of following this beautiful lady because I'm still attracted to women as a wolf. It's part of my natural instinct. And not that I want to have sex with her or anything like that. It's just somebody I want to feed upon. And I follow her to her apartment, not realizing she has a roommate. Then it goes back in time, you realize, oh, that's the girl from the beginning of the movie and the roommate. And that's the big twist of the whole film. That was me saying, I can kill two people twice and add a news clip of two men being killed and never have to show it. And like I said, this movie has less blood, more intrigue, more mystery than anything else in company with the love story. So that was the big twist. New York happened much prior to what it seems like in the film. And once it all comes into fruition and it says present day, you're like, wow. At that point, I got you. We're back in California. It's Christmas time. And as you know, how the movie ends after that. So yeah, it was cool for two of my films to add a twist. It's something that's got to be done carefully. You have to fool your audience. Not only that, when they revisit the film and they look at it, knowing what the twist is, it makes sense the second time around. Like, okay, and pay attention to the details. That's why when I go back in time, you see the flashing light, you see the ceiling fan, you see the love written on the wall. You're like, this looks familiar. Wait a minute. New York apartment, downtown Manhattan. So yeah, thank you for watching. As always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends, and more importantly, leave your comments down below. Hey, it's 2024. Let's have some fun. Peace. You know the routine. Fade to black.